It's a game day here in Green Bay. Kind of overcast, windy morning now, quite nice. About high 50s to 60 degrees outside. But the tundra will be frozen as we play at the Resch Center. That's our arena downtown. Just a driver, if I could hit my driver straight, which we know I don't do, from Lambeau Field. Anyway, no need to preview that. We're taking on SIU Edwardsville. And my good friend Brian Baroni is the head coach there. They're picked to win their league. That's the Ohio Valley Conference. And should be a very difficult contest tonight in Green Bay. Let's get to the topic du jour, which also happens to be the topic of the day. The New York Jets, well, they've fired Joe Douglas, their general manager. And there's a lot of people going, why would you fire your general manager now? Guys, why don't you do that? Why would you fire your general manager now? Sam, Jason.
Why would you fire your general manager now?
There you go. Good question. Okay. How many weeks are left in the season? Roughly. Okay. Got what? 6 or so weeks left in the season? Okay. The answer is, so oftentimes we've seen general managers be fired right after the season is over. Okay, but how are you going to know who you want to keep, who you want to get rid of? And oh yeah, by the way, the other thing that happens when you fire general managers at the end of the year is you then fire your scouts after the draft because your scouts have been doing all the legwork for the upcoming draft during the college football season. And now is the time, though you have to have done your homework previously, but now is the time when the scouting really, really matters. Now you're getting to the big conference games, plus you have the bowl games, plus you have the Senior Bowl. You need to really have your evals. By my guesstimation, this is actually one of the real smart moves. They are going to drop the old napalm and start over. Right? Aaron Rodgers is not going to be back. They're going to have a new head coach. They're going to have a new general manager. They might well have a new logo next year. It's all going to look different. And with that, why would you give a guy a chance to see something when you haven't done the legwork of what changes you want to make along the path? And if you do it last week or 2 weeks of the season, you're not getting really a true sense because you're not playing against teams or you're not playoff competitive. Not that you're making the playoffs with the Jets. That's not the point. The point is the games are still relatively competitive. You can get a better sense of what you're working with, who's in. And by the way, the players that are in on a 3-7 season that continue to grind and work through it, those are the guys you want to build around culture-wise. And the guys that have checked out, have already booked flights out of town, have already told their agents, find me a new team next year, those are the guys you don't. So there's a lot of dumb moves the Jets have made. And quite obviously, the dumbest of which is trading for Aaron Rodgers, then acquiescing to his desires for supporting talent, then acquiescing to his desires for his own play caller, who's his buddy, then acquiescing to giving him a new contract, despite the fact that he hadn't yet played it down, then acquiescing to Aaron Rodgers even after he has an Achilles tendon tear, and then acquiescing to Aaron Rodgers when he no-shows on planned team events in the summer because he wants to go to Egypt and to beyond and explore the world. Hey, there's plenty of mistakes and plenty of blame to go around. It's not all on Joe Douglas. Woody Johnson is just as much a part of the problem. So too is their now former head coach. But you can't go back. You can't fix those decisions that are made. The die is cast. A change was needed. And to anybody who thinks that Joe Douglas, who's a very good football man, was done wrong, he got to bring in his own quarterback. He got to completely revamp how they did things. He was given time, and they are no further along than they were previously. In fact, they're probably further behind. But why fire him now? Because now you get a truly better sense of who to keep, who to get rid of, what to fix, how to fix it. And no, you don't necessarily get first pick, but you get more and more time to evaluate what you need, and then whoever you hire, you know you can connect with what you have. Make sense? I mean, again, I can tell you from my perspective, I was I believe, the latest hire in college basketball, May 14th. So, yeah, there's some decisions that I made that I would probably like to take back. But I didn't have a run-up of a couple of months or even a month to watch this team play and know what I want to keep, what I want to get rid of, who would fit, who would not. The same thing for my assistants. They went out and recruited the best guys possible, but they hadn't yet coached with me and know how I operate, or hadn't lived in this place to know what's needed the most. I actually completely understand and agree. And look, Joe Douglas, it gives him the opportunity to go search for a job, and I'm sure he's got some offset. Everyone knew the coaching staff was going to be redone. This means that the scouts are probably going to be well aware of what their future is if they have one. And Phil Savage can act like a GM, but also can report to Woody Johnson on what they need, what he likes, what he doesn't, and what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of. And then you have the Aaron Rodgers thing, which, I totally understand that we reached this era of player empowerment. And Aaron Rodgers is really, really smart. As a quarterback, smart guy. But you know what he's not? He's not a scout, not a general manager, he's not a coach. He's never been any of the three. And so his desires to bring back guys that are over the hill, don't fit, or just aren't that good anymore, combined with the fact that he is not a culture builder. I don't think he's a culture killer, but I don't think he's a culture builder. You have yourself a good old-fashioned dumpster fire, and no one does the dumpster fire better than the JETS mess. I mean, think about it. Outside of when Parcells ran it, I mean, even Mangini had it off of the Parcells era, right? It's been smoldering pile of poo. Yeah, Rex Ryan had 2 years where they advanced in the NFC playoff to the championship game with a dynamic defense and a pedestrian offense. But in totality, look at the overall record over the past 20, 25 years, and it has been, ugly. But in regards to the firing now, that's why I believe it happened.